hear me out. I don't think that AJ is going to be able to beat Usyk if they fought in 6 months' time, right? I don't think it's going to happen, right? Because I think in order for AJ to beat Usyk, Usyk is going to have to slow down tremendously, and AJ is going to have to make a lot of improvements. And I don't think in one training camp that's going to be is going to be enough for him to improve so much that he could beat Usyk, and for Usyk to slow down enough that AJ now has a better chance in beating him. Um, so I think that AJ, what he should do is he should just allow Usyk to move on with his career and hopefully fight the winner of Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder and become undisputed if he can beat the winner of that fight, right? Because I believe that the only way Usyk will have to fight AJ again would be if AJ enforces it, right? If he's like, no, we're going to have this rematch, then he will obviously have to face him. But personally, I would want to see AJ allow Usyk to, do whatever he wants to do next, probably. And like I said, I would want to, and because I think Usyk would want to fight the winner of Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. And I think in order for AJ to win against somebody like Usyk, because when he, against Usyk, when he lost to Andy Ruiz Jr., you could see that. You could look at that fight and you could be like, well, Andy Ruiz Jr. caught him everybody was saying that Andy Ruiz caught him with a back of the head shot, and that destroyed his equilibrium. So because of that, AJ never fully recovered, and that's the only reason he lost to Andy Ruiz Jr., and he was being successful in that fight. But in this fight, that wasn't the case. There was no back of the head equilibrium shot, right? This was a case where AJ just got thoroughly outboxed. Realistically, he was in there with a guy who's just a better boxer than him, right? He was in there with a guy who was a better technical boxer, who was smarter, who knew what to do, who knew how to adapt, who was killing him with left hands, and AJ just did not know how to adapt. For the majority of the fight, he really did not know how to adapt to Alexander Usyk's style, right? So it wasn't like he lost. It's not like you could see this fight and be like, oh man, Anthony Joshua only lost because he got hit with a lucky punch and never recovered. No, he just got thoroughly outboxed, right? So in order for AJ to beat him in the rematch, he's going to have to make major improvements. One of those major improvements is actually fight like you have a dog in you, right? Walk the man down. If you are fighting a guy who is a better boxer than you, you got to walk him down. You have to actually be the bully in that fight, right? You can't try and box him and play a chess match, because you're not going to win the chess match against a guy who's a better boxer than you, right? You have to walk him down. It kind of reminded me of when Vladimir Klitschko fought Tyson Fury. Vladimir Klitschko was so intimidated. The same thing happened with AJ. AJ, it seemed like he was intimidated to engage and try to force the fight and try to walk down Alexander Usyk. He was probably intimidated because he was getting hit with counters all night. I felt that happened to Vladimir Klitschko, where he was not. All he had to do was make it into a street fight and walk down Tyson Fury, but he did not do it. He did not do that. He fought. He was like intimidated. That's the same type of impression that I got against AJ and against Usyk. It was like he was scared to engage because he didn't want to get hurt. He didn't want to, make a mistake and get dropped or something. Excuse me. So I feel that he's gonna need a to bring the dog out in him, and not be afraid to take risks against somebody like Usyk in order to beat him. And I don't think that in one training camp that's going to happen. I think that's going to take time for him to, recover and, to learn, and like I said, I saw this fight now, and when I see a fight and I see a guy thoroughly beat another guy, I really don't want to see the fight, because I expect this exact same results to happen. When I saw Tyson Fury fight Deontay Wilder, that's why I really don't care if Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder fight for the third time, because I saw it twice already, and I know what's going to happen. When they fought the second time, I was like, I saw Tyson Fury dominate Deontay Wilder, so I wasn't surprised when he then ended up beating him again, right? So that's how I feel when it comes to this rematch. Usyk is going to beat AJ again if AJ doesn't make changes. If AJ does not fight aggressive in this fight, he's not going to win the rematch. He's going to lose again. And now Alexander Usyk knows he could beat him, right? Before he was probably feeling like he has the talent to beat him. But now he knows he could beat him. So he's going to be even more confident. He's going to probably take even more risks and make it's going to be an easier fight. But the fight's probably going to happen just because AJ probably wants to revenge his loss. And obviously, Usyk is going to be the A side in that fight, so he's probably going to make a lot more money. So, of course, this fight's going to happen. But just as a boxing fan, I would like it if AJ let him move on with his career and fight the winner, excuse me, of Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. I mean, can you imagine watching Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury if Tyson Fury beats Deontay Wilder? Or fuck it, Deontay Wilder versus Alexander Usyk. That's a good matchup. It's different, you know. I just think it's cool. You know, AJ, he's a guy that he could fight a bus driver and he'll sell out a 20,000 fan arenas. So he doesn't necessarily have to fight Alexander Usyk right away. He could fight anybody else, you know. Anyway, that's all I have to say.